Making money out of soft-core pornography on the internet. You might not think it's a spiritual journey. You might not think it's a defiant, rebellious political statements, but you might not know Claire Michelle. You may not know what it means to her, and today we're all going to learn together. And I've got to tell you, it's a little bit mysterious to me. I researched this as well as I possibly could, but I am not sure if we're looking at the turning point as she goes from softcore porn to outright prostitution. I'm not really sure when you put the pieces of this story together what the next chapter is going to be. Let's just start with the quote on screen. Wealth needs to be in the hands of those who have incarnated upon this planet to dismantle the fear-based paradigms that have been enslaving humanity for eons. It is essential that now, more than ever, that all light workers deeply heal their money wounds. Close quote. That's what we're getting into today, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting into the money wounds of Claire Michelle and her process of healing and how she has learned to just shut up and love the fact that she can earn money based on the shape of her ass. It wasn't always this way. She wasn't always the light-hearted, fun-loving, nearly nude Instagrammer who would remark that it's a fun fact that her boobs grow when she's happy. Yes, and the follow-up quotation there is, not sure how this works, but I'm here for it. And, my lovely companion here, Melissa, she sometimes likes to ask the question, skeptically, how would any of us regard this if it were a male Instagrammer? If it were a man on YouTube, on Instagram, saying these same things? Look, guys, it's a fun fact, but the size of my penis increases when I'm happy. And, I don't understand the science behind it, but I'm here for it. You know what I'm saying? And, I've finally decided after years about feeling bad about prostituting myself that, wealth needs to be in the hands of those who've been incarnated on this planet to be light workers. I'm freeing you. I'm liberating you from your enslavement. And I'm going to get over my aversion to making money out of, the shape of my ass. Yeah. What if this were a man? What if this were coming not from Claire Michelle, but from Craig Michaels or the equivalent? And I gotta say, guys, I've followed Claire Michelle through this journey. The first video on my channel addressed to Claire Michelle with Claire Michelle's name in the title, you see it right there, bikinis and bomb craters. It still stands up. It's still a great video. Go back and watch it. 6,000 people already did. You can be number 6,001. Bunch of meaningful reflections about education and how getting older isn't necessarily getting wiser, but it should be. So many young people at that time were dropping out of university and sometimes even dropping out of high school to come on the internet and do what Claire Michelle was doing at the time. But at that time, what she was doing was vegan activism. And now, as you're about to hear, she has very different ideas about what her mission is and, frankly, how it's going to fill up her bank account. Yes, look at the sepia tone text in the top left corner of your screen here. Booty pics plus abundance codes dripping in. Let's talk about money. So she's realized that there is a connection between how flagrant her booty pics are on Instagram and the amount of so-called abundance flowing into her pockets. Not that she has any pockets, don't get me wrong. I don't think I've seen her wearing anything with pockets for 5 years. Quote, due to my dreamy, spacey, starseed nature and a severe lack of balance with my masculine and feminine energy, for most of my life, I avoided numbers and structure at all costs. Period. But she's still rebelling against numbers. She's still rebelling against structure. And you can tell because she follows this up with a sentence beginning with a lowercase letter I. She's fighting against the autocorrect feature on her phone. Even if the I appears in the middle of the sentence, your phone is going to put it in caps. But no. She pressed that button 2 or 3 times to make sure she rebelled against the constraints of English language grammar, and we start a new sentence with a lowercase letter I as follows. Quote, I had the tendency to neglect the responsibilities of functioning as a human being within a world governed by numbers, trusting that money would just flow to me, living in survival mode on a month-to-month basis. Close quote. I can remember those days. I can remember when she was agonized about and uncomfortable with the fact that virtually all of the attention she received on the internet was because of her sex appeal and was because of her exploiting her own sex appeal. What do you know? What a big surprise. The number of people who are interested in her ersatz spiritual self-help message, it's dramatically fewer than the number of people who are interested in the shape of her ass. Quote, I was not fully anchored in my power and my confidence to share my spiritual gifts with others, charge my worth, and actually receive the level of financial freedom required to rise into my mission upon this earth. Yeah, confused yet? No? Mysterious, provocative, intriguing. And I'm not talking about the photograph on the left-hand side of your screen.
Now that I realize how much my ass is worth, I'm going to charge you to look at it.
You know, it's not the size of your ass. It's what you're willing to do with it. And I think we are left guessing just what is she willing to do to realize what she feels this ass is worth and the level of financial freedom she's going to give. She's developed a complex spiritual conviction that money is freedom. Freedom is God. And the mission that God placed her on earth to do involves her making as much money as possible out of her ass. And we're left to wonder if that's just going to involve cameras or other kinds of things going into it. Because the truth is, the more you have, the more you can give. I have so many dreams that we brought to life by a stronger financial foundation, and I refuse to be caged by self-limiting beliefs any longer. Yes, so she looks back on the spirituality she had in 2018 and sees that now as merely a set of self-limiting beliefs. And these new beliefs she's embracing, they're not self-limiting at all. Because it's not about owning a lot of money. It's about channeling money into your purpose, into your art, into your dreams, to support the entire collective awakening that you signed up for when your soul chose to come to planet Earth. Now, what she calls channeling money, you and I might call spending money. When she's saying it's not about owning money, what she's saying is it's actually about buying things with the money.
Like this thrift store find.
Right. And I think there will be a few hundred or a few thousand men who will be happy to donate via OnlyFans or a similar website to support your refined taste in thrifted merchandise, or whatever it is you are implicitly wanting us to understand is your, grandiose spiritual purpose that your soul signed up for when you chose to come to planet Earth, rather than, say, Mars or Venus, one of many other stations that were available to you. Embodying your worth is your responsibility as a light worker on Earth at this time. As the living pillars of heaven upon this planet, it is our divine duty and responsibility to thrive in every dimension of our existence. So guys, if you are masturbating while clicking through Instagram accounts, I want you to know these are not mere mortals. These are not mere human beings who are exciting your animal instincts evolved over millions of years. No, these are the pillars of heaven on this planet. And in every second of this sacred life, you have the free will. Oh, you didn't think it would go this far. Oh, it goes further. Oh, you don't know. Oh, no. And in every second of this sacred life, it goes all the way. In every second of this sacred life, you have the free will to embody the worth of your inner wealth in that oh, great. I lost the thread. You see that?
And in every second of this sacred life, you have the free will to embody the worth of your inner wealth.
Period. No capital letter. In all that you do. Period. No capital letter.
All that you allow. All that you choose.
Yeah. I would have said that subtext. So check this out. Okay. You have the free will to embody the worth of your inner wealth in all that you do, all that you allow, all that you choose. If you know what I'm saying, and I think that you do. This year, God, the first capital letter we've had in this whole monologue, capital letter G. In this year, God called me to claim my divine worth in every aspect of my life. I think only one or two aspects. Have you ever considered becoming a dentist, Claire? Have you ever thought that God might be calling you to be okay, dental hygienist? There are a lot of ways to earn money. I understand you want money, but this is not the only way to do it. And, it's not really every aspect of your life that you're going to be improving by going into porn, or should I say going further into porn, because realistically, you've already been doing softcore porn for at least 5 years. Right. In my relationships, my business, my body, my finances, in the way that I love and take care of myself, in the way that I love and show up for others. New sentence, new paragraph, lowercase letter. To see money as an exchange of energy, not as something that is inherently toxic and negative. I see where she's coming from in terms of saying that she's shifting from regarding money as something inherently toxic and negative to seeing it as something positive in her life. Or like, I understand that. I was raised by extremely left-wing parents who demonized money and demonized economics from that left-wing perspective. Then at some point you grow up and start seeing things, in a more pragmatic light. But her conclusion has not been to switch from, dreadlocked hippie spirituality to down-to-earth pragmatic economics. It's to take that spirituality and replace self-abnegation, humility, and monasticism with the reckless pursuit of profit. She has simply conflated money with God. She has replaced the spiritual motivation she had before with the love of lucre. Yeah. And she's saying, well, money is freedom. Freedom is power. And she's going to use her power to do wonderful things in the world.
That are unspecified.
Oh, yes. And the absence of any mention of veganism or vegan activism is significant there.
Yeah.
Because, she's not the first person we've heard this from. Anyone else remember James Aspie? It's not that different from James Aspie's great scheme to get rich and change the world. That has a lot to do with him posing 9/10 naked in a bikini, him and his wife. He says he's going to change the world later, just let him get rich and famous first. So this isn't that far off, but the spiritual pretensions are on the next level. Quote, the truth is, everyone wants freedom, but not everyone is taking responsibility for their lives. Myself included, for a time, I've spiraled into victim consciousness many times throughout my journey, and it's not a fun place to hang out. Freedom and responsibility go hand in hand, and sustained wealth can only be sourced through trusting your ability to share your soul's gifts with this world. Now, pause. What are the gifts she has been sharing with this world, and what are the gifts she's now resolving she's going to share with this world as never before? We're left to fill in the blanks, but she's not going to dental hygiene college. She hasn't decided to become a nurse. She hasn't decided to become a lawyer. She hasn't decided to join the army and earn an honest living by shooting people in the head with the U.S. Marine Corps. There are all kinds of ways you can get motivated, give up your old phony spiritual beliefs, and decide to earn money and take responsibility and be a grown-up. Yeah. And the one she's embracing seems to be nude modeling, if not the next step thereafter. Witnessing the programs that arise around money, then choosing to end the cycle with yourself, unraveling the scarcity conditioning from your ancestral line. Your ancestral line! It's starting to sound kind of
conditioning.
It's kind of starting to sound kind of racist. Line, yeah. You know what I'm saying? What do you mean, because I'm Jewish? Is that what you're trying to say? Where are you going with this, Claire? What are you saying? Yeah, my ancestors were slaves. So what? Let's really think about this here. Unraveling the scarcity conditioning from your ancestral line. Another very strange concept. That you've inherited conditioning from your grandparents and great-grandparents some of whom might have been slaves, and some of whom might have been slave owners, depending on who you are. Yeah. Dissolving all traces of victim consciousness and taking radical responsibility for every aspect of your life. It's deep work, and it doesn't happen overnight. It requires devotion every single day. You know, the other thing that's funny about this is as soon as these people start embracing the like self-made entrepreneur thing, I wonder if they're aware of just what a gap there is stylistically, substantively, and just the gap between the different shelves in the library between this horse shit they're now preaching and what actual financiers, actual economists, and actual millionaires say about making money. It's just like all of the bullshit she was doing as a body positivity self-help guru before. You know, she's just taking the same vocabulary.
You certainly would question if your financial advisor was talking about money as a transfer of energy.
Yeah. Quote, dissolving all traces of victim consciousness and taking radical responsibility for every aspect of your life. Now, close quote, again, that would sound different if she were saying she was not going to do any nude modeling anymore. If she was saying, and that's it, now I'm going to join the sniper regiment and start winning that war in Afghanistan for the US of A. If she was saying she was going to go work on a fishing boat, it's not vegan, but still, you catch my drift. If she was saying she was going to take up any honest job or profession, but it seems like she's going to start from this deeply dishonest place of peddling her own spirituality and get much more radically responsible about instead making money out of the shape of her ass. Wealth is a living, breathing currency, a dimensional frequency that is constantly listening to and responding to who you are choosing to show up as in every moment of your human existence.
I have to stop you there. In every now moment of your human existence.
Thank you, my sweet. My inner editor was improving her English without my even noticing it. Now, she shouts out another Instagram profile here. Everything that's wrong with Plentiful Soul, everything that's wrong with Claire Michelle is even more wrong with this other Instagram profile. And it seems like it's
more wrong?
Yeah, it's even more recklessly encouraging women to basically prostitute themselves and then present this as a journey of self-empowerment on the internet publicly. Yeah. Wow. Now, look, I think that's an interesting conversation to have. I mean, you know, I've said this to you. We went to a restaurant here once, and you look at the young women who were working at this restaurant. In this particular case, they were all really good-looking young women, and they are being exploited, and it is an awful job, you know what I mean? And you're aware every single one of them could be making much more money on OnlyFans. They could probably be making more money doing what Claire Michelle already does on Instagram or YouTube. And, you know, it's easy to kind of preach, you know, the honor and dignity of having an honest job and earning an honest living, as opposed to going into softcore porn or as opposed to going into hardcore porn. But for a lot of us have jobs where there is no honor and there is no dignity. So instead, people sign up for one philosophy or another that's going to make them feel like there's honor and dignity in taking up the path of sexual exploitation. And Claire Michelle, of anyone I've ever known on the internet, she has taken the most time to think this over. She's taken more than 5 years to, you know, stare down this hallway and really think over whether or not she wants this, whether or not she wants this career. And it seems like she's just finally taking this step now. You know, she didn't rush into it. You know, she didn't jump on this bandwagon the day she turned 18, as so many millions do, right? As she said, honestly enough, instead she lived for years just expecting through the power of positive thinking that money would come to her, you know. And here we are 5 years later. She's tired of being broke. She's tired of her old philosophy. She's going to get a new philosophy.
Yeah, you can couch it in this floral language, but it really is just the oldest profession in the world, selling your body for money. Yeah.
And I say this today, I'll say this tomorrow, I'll say this 10 years from now. If I'm still alive at 90 years old, I'll say it when I'm a 90-year-old man on the internet. There's a difference between stripping to pay your way through college and dropping out of college to become a stripper. I'm not saying there's necessarily no future in stripping. I'm not saying there's no future in being a sex worker or a nude model, right? But these particular people, they tend to be pursuing this type of fame at the expense of, like turning their back on any possibility of ever having a real career, a real future, doing anything other than sexually exploiting themselves. It doesn't have to be that way, but far too often it is. So she shouts out this other Instagram profile and then says she embodies this so deeply and has helped this code anchor in me through witnessing her devotion to her soul alignment and integrity in every dimension of her business, which is an extension of her essence. Yeah, well, the fact of the matter is you're weighing how many grams of oats you eat for breakfast and looking in the mirror and working out at the gym because you know you earn your living wearing lingerie and bikinis and photographing it at just the right angle to look just the right way to give men orgasms. That's the exchange that's going on here. So it's interesting, like philosophically, she is saying she wants to embrace economic pragmatism as never before. But what is your soul's purpose? What is this economic function you're praising so highly? Well, it's porn. Thank you for showing us all what is possible when a woman fiercely embodies her worth and trusts the rhythms of her body to guide her pathway to pure liberation. So yeah, I can see it written on Melissa's face right now. Like,
so the path to financial freedom is capitalizing on your body. That's the message that she's sending.
Even more explicitly, she's saying that a woman's worth is her sex appeal, is her physical appearance, specifically as you can monetize it by being enticing to men. That is, from my perspective, the most purely evil and ethically hideous aspect of this worldview of all. Now, not everyone can be a bikini model. Not everyone can be a doctor. Not everyone can be a nurse. Not everyone can be a dentist. Not everyone can be a philosopher. Not everyone can earn an honest living shooting people in the head for the U.S. Marine Corps. I get it. But whatever it is you feel the worth is of being a human being, of being, as she would put it, incarnated on this earth, this ain't it. Quote, your potential for success is never determined by the current contents of your external reality. This is what it means to be guided by faith over sight. To release all judgment around where you are now, in your finances, in your business, in your work, and fiercely focus upon your eternal inner well of limitless potential. Wealth is freedom. Wealth is liberation. And this state of sustained liberation is an immediate result when you are living in true harmony with your soul.
Oh my God, make it stop.
External wealth is your natural state of being when you are in alignment internally. When your external realm seems to be crumbling into chaos, slow down, breathe deep, turn your awareness inwards, and choose to believe in an invisible dream that only you and God can see. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot worship both God and mammon. But what we have here is precisely the reconciliation of spirituality with greed, with a capital letter G. As you nurture your inner world and deepen your levels of internal integrity, living from that space of unshaken soul confidence, the more and more magnetic, open, relaxed, surrendered your channel will become to receiving the limitless abundance of your divine inheritance. Can I just pause and ask, would this advice be applicable to any walk of life, any role, any job other than prostitution? Like, if you were talking to a farmer, like, yeah, I farm strawberries. What am I going to do with this advice? What sense does it make? Yeah, well, you know what? It rained too much this year. So it was a bad year for straw. Like, what are you going to tell me if I'm literally a strawberry farmer? Any other walk of life.
Listen to the rhythms of your body. That's what she's telling you.
Recognize your true worth. Realize why God put you here.
When you are acquainted with your soul, when you know
once
your
you're
potential,
inwardly aligned, then you're going to be rich.
Abundance will come to you.
So you're saying I should stop farming strawberries and switch to farming pears? What are you trying to tell me? I can't say that this makes no sense for her life. I think what makes this so tragicomic is that it only makes sense as a set of excuses for her own life. The more you live from a state of faith over fear, the more you will unearth the confidence to give yourself full permission to embody the essence of empowerment in all that you think, all that you are, all that you do. The more and more you nurture your connection to God, to your soul, to that inner oasis of overflowing love, the more the remembrance of your divine worth will anchor deeper and deeper into every cell of your being, and the consciousness held within your physical vessel will match the energetic resonance of your soul's essence, the most embodied, abundant, unfuckwithable version of you. Because you will feel so good living from that state of genuine inner empowerment, prosperity of all forms will have no choice but to be drawn to you, to reflect your anchored embodiment of internal wealth. It actually requires more mental effort to remain in lack and scarcity. It takes more stories, more focus, more fear. Abundance is your natural state of being. Do you think she watches the news? Do you think she ever just tunes in and looks at that footage from what's happening in Afghanistan and just thinks, how does my philosophy apply to this? I mean, Afghanistan's what's in the news this week, people. But, I mean, you could throw a dart in the map. Do you think she ever walks out of her front door and walks half a mile in any direction straight and wonders, how does her philosophy apply to these people she's walking past? When you are deeply dropped into the consciousness of your heart, you will genuinely feel how fully held your soul is within the limitless love of God, still the one and only capitalized word in this essay. And from that deeply rooted space of feeling, and from that deeply rooted space, of feeling so protected, so provided for, so loved, so supported by divine creator, capital D, capital C, yes, you will effortlessly summon the confidence to take leaps of faith in your business, in your relationships, in your life itself, that will lead to levels of prosperity in every dimension of your existence, beyond everything you could have ever imagined within the limiting constructs of your mind. And what could she possibly be talking about other than selling images of the crack in her ass? Quote, I just recently started investing in crypto, and it is honestly the future. Highly recommend it. What are your thoughts on crypto? Have you started investing in cryptocurrency yet?
I was going to say, maybe this is leading up to some multi-level marketing scheme.
Maybe the future is financial advisor Claire Michelle.